The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everybody. This is Rob. Welcome to this week's call. We've got some fun stuff tonight. Now, tonight's session, and I apologise, it's very late for me again, so I will try and be as coherent as I possibly can at 1 o'clock in the morning. If I stumble or fall over things, bear with me. Please play nicely. I will do my best. Tonight's session is an important, really important one. It's a little bit more difficult to understand in some cases than some of the stuff we've done before, but I just want everybody to understand this because we're going to look at the business of PPC, which is how you make money. Because at the end of the day, we're here to make money out of PPC. This isn't a charitable exercise. This is a profit exercise. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, before I get into the detail of this, can everybody just give me a quick shout out, let you know if you can hear me okay? Any problems with screens or anything like that, type it in the chat box. Hey, lots of people saying yes. Nice. Good. I'll take that as a good to go then. Right. Before I get into this, I'm going to deviate slightly off track for 2 seconds, so indulge me. We've put some new features out into Boost My PPC today. You'll notice there's new features coming out most days, and we're working really hard to make this as comprehensive and as complete as we can, as fast as we possibly can. So today, a couple of new things that I just want to show you. So I'm just going to bring that here. Okay. Right. You should see on my menu here, I'm just going to get, because that's not very clear, hang on a second. Bring that in. Oh, okay, right. To fill out a bit. Okay. If you're logged into Boost My PPC, I'm just going to go to the Prospects tab. One of the questions that we've been asked is, how do I see the email that's been sent out to my prospects? And the answer before was you couldn't. As you know, we rotate emails around on a split test basis, and we rolled out a second set of email tests last week. So, to give you what you want, if you come into the Prospects tab now, anywhere where you've sent an email, if you click on that and scroll down, there is an option now to view the content. So as we can see here, this is email 1. This was the first email that was sent in this sequence. There's only been one email sent. This was the date and the time. Click on View Content. It's not particularly pretty, but it gives you everything you need. You can see exactly the email that was sent out to that prospect. So people have been asking for that. You will be able to know exactly what's going on. So once you've made you aware of that, that's a new feature that's come out today, literally come out today. Second thing that's come out in the last couple of days, if you've noticed it, was we were asked to make it so you could personalize the email that's gone out. And again, when you're in your Prospects tab, now have email and name. So if you have a prospect's name, if you call and get a name for somebody, put it in there. It will personalize the email when it sends it out. If you leave it blank, we've started all the emails with the word hi. So it isn't going to cause you a problem. If there isn't a name there, it's not going to read wrong, it's not going to cause a problem, but if you do put it in, it's there for you. So there are two new things that we've put out over the last few days. There's some big stuff coming in to Boost My PPC this week, so keep your eyes open. I don't want to preempt what they are, just in case we hit a development snag or something weird goes on, but there are big things coming into this program over the course of the next few days, so look out for that. Just to clarify, as always, we are recording this. It will be live in the members area, assuming that I don't mess up, and it will be coming during the course of tomorrow morning, UK time, when I get back out of bed in the morning. Right, that said, let's dive into what we're actually here for this evening, which is the business of PPC. Okay, what I'm going to cover. First of all, we're going to go through the business model and a refresher of that. We're going to have a look at some pricing models and pricing itself, and we're going to talk about commissions and whether you need commissions or not, and then we're going to look at outsourcing and margin. So we're basically walking through this step at a time. So we start with how we're going to price, then we look at the detail, Then we look at our costs and we look at our margin. Now, just to be absolutely clear on this is how we do it. This is how we know lots of agencies that do it. You can do what you want. This is entirely your business model to run the way you see fit. If you've got a better idea, go ahead and try it. One thing we do know is that this works, and it works consistently. So my suggestion is, if you can stick with this, if you've got no other idea, it's a great place to start. But feel free to tweak it, play with it, and modify it if you think you've got some good ideas. So here we go. So just a reminder of what business we're actually in. We are selling AdWords management services predominantly, but not exclusively, to prospects who are already running pay-per-click campaigns. So we know they've already got a campaign, they're already spending on the whole, and we are going to justify our fee by the savings they're going to make, by the extra revenue that they're going to make to justify your fee. If the prospect already has an agency in place, then there is no additional fee or a small additional fee to justify potentially, but the sell there becomes more about efficiency and performance rather than extra spend to them. So that's what we're actually going to do, and we're going to charge them a monthly recurring fee. As I've said before, we don't recommend charging for audits. You can, if you wish, charge for a campaign audit. I would much prefer to get monthly income having delivered value up front. We find that works. The path to resistance is very low. So, that's our suggestion. If you have a different opinion or a different view and you want to charge for an audit, charge for an audit. Go ahead. So that's the model we're following. Monthly recurring to existing advertisers. Now, you may have seen this slide before, because in many respects what we're going through tonight isn't new. It's a recap, it's a restructure and potentially a refresh, but it isn't new. So let's have a look at some pricing models. 3 models here, no prizes for guessing which one I prefer. So the first model is the all-inclusive model, where you would say, for example, I'm going to charge you $1,000 per month, Mr. Prospect, and I'm going to send you some traffic and some new customers potentially. You don't necessarily tell them how much they're going to go on ad spend and how much is going to go in your pocket and how much is going to end up in your outsourcer's pocket if you use one. So you give them a number, and that's all that customer knows apart from the results from the campaign. That can work in small campaigns, and the only time I recommend it, and I do recommend it, is for very small campaigns where proportionally the management fee feels larger. So if it's say $1,000 or less budget or a $500 budget, you might want to consider that because it makes it feel like better value for money. But that's the only time I ever would recommend it. Lewis has commented about thank you for this. That's cool. The second model, which I really don't recommend under any circumstances, is going for a percent of ad spend. And the reason that I don't, there are 2 main reasons why I don't like doing this. It creates a conflict of interest because it's in your agency's interest for the client to spend as much money as possible. It's in their interest to spend as efficiently as possible. You have a conflict. I don't recommend doing that. And if you're billing based on actual spend, then you either have to bill in arrears or you have to have some kind of complicated adjustment mechanism. I really wouldn't go down that path. It's just a world of pain. Here's how we recommend it for 90% of our clients and 90% of our agencies. That is a tiered pricing model based on the budgeted ad spend. So when your client or your prospect says, okay, I'm going to prepare to spend $1,000 a month on AdWords plus your fee, you can just look in your tariff and read off the fee that's appropriate. For the client's perspective, it's fixed, it's easy to understand, you can bill in advance, and there's no conflict of interest. It solves lots of the problems. So bear that in mind. That's how we recommend that you approach it, and we're going to be focusing on model number 3, this percentage of ad budget here, for the rest of this session. One that isn't on here and may suit your business if you already have clients doing other services, which is we have agencies who don't separate out their PPC fee. They say, hey, Mr. Prospect, I'm going to do online marketing for you and I'm going to bring you leads. And to do that, I am going to do some SEO and some video marketing and some viral and some and some PPC. And they then charge a one-figure fee, say of $3,000 a month for that fee, and spend it as they consider best. So there is zero transparency for the client. The client has no comprehension of what they're getting for the money. All they care about is the aggregate number of leads that they receive in total from all activities. Now, if you're in that situation, give it some consideration. I personally am uncomfortable with it because I'm a PPC guy, but I know agencies that use it and use it very well. One thing I would say is it's a more complicated sell because you're having to sell a bigger bundle of services and get over a bigger price point to start with. But if you're comfortable doing that and you've got clients already, it might work for you. That said, we're not going to talk about it for the rest of this session. So here's an example of a pricing structure. I've taken currencies out for the rest of this presentation because currency doesn't matter. Whether your budget is US dollars, Australian dollars, UK pounds, it doesn't matter. Canadian dollars, it's not important. What matters is the tiers and the structure. So here's how we do it. And this mirrors our tiering. You could change it. You can make it more granular. Pick a number. The fees that are in here are fees that you would probably be able to get away with in the marketplace the vast majority of time. And I've put into bold the sections that we really should be focusing on, which is the 2,000 upwards ones. That's where we're really interested. Okay, so what you'll notice is if our budget is less than $500, in all cases, I've suggested you charge a setup fee. Even if it's an existing account, you can charge a setup fee. I'll explain why in a moment. Once you've charged your setup fee, charge a monthly fee. And the monthly fees start out relatively high as a proportion of the ad spend, but get smaller as you go through the actual ad budget. So you can see you're starting off with almost 60% of ad spend at the bottom end of the account, but by, say, a $500 budget. But by the time you get to a $10,000 budget, you're at 14%. That's just natural and reflects the way PPC account costs are incurred. There are certain tasks that when you're running a PPC campaign do not go away whether you've got a $500 budget or a $5,000 budget or a $50,000 budget. So getting down at the very bottom end, you should always, always, always have a minimum fee. So if that wasn't clear, I'll just reiterate, you should always have a minimum fee. And I'd suggest certainly don't go much lower than 300, 250 if you're feeling particularly generous. So that's your monthlies. As for your setup fee, it's up to you. It depends what you think you can get away with the individual client and what you think that will. You don't want it to be a deal breaker, but equally you want it to be profitable. So typically 2 weeks to 4 weeks of monthly fee is acceptable as a setup charge in most cases. Again, once you get to the big numbers, be sensible about it. But in that 2 to 10,000 bracket, certainly a $500 setup fee or a £500 setup fee is not unreasonable, and people will pay that. We've spoken before in previous sessions about this idea of 15%, and it doesn't have to be 15%. As you can see here, I worked on 20% at the 2,500 level, but I'm down to lower than that at the 5,000 level and 14% by the time I get to 10,000. So treat it as flexible. You're offering a good service here, so do it and don't be shy. You will very rarely come up against price objections unless somebody is got absolutely fixed on the fee that they're paying their incumbent agency, and that's not often.
And I would say, sorry Rob, this is Kevin.
Good evening, Kevin.
Hey. And I would say this is on the low end. You can definitely charge higher than this.
Yes, so, absolutely. Oops, that's not helpful. Yeah, I've seen people charging quite a bit more than this. I've done this for the purpose of being relatively conservative so as not to scare anybody off, but you can charge more than this.
for example, Kyle, who you interviewed, I think he does more of like a not based on spin, but like a package deal for their management that comes with like landing pages and other stuff. And I think his is $1,000 a month, and up to so much of an ad spend. And I mean, he's getting clients here in the middle ground of a couple thousand ad spend a month paying that because of the value proposition that he delivers.
Yes, exactly. Okay, right. Thank you for that, Kevin. That's really appreciative because it's generally true. We can see people charging more than this. You very occasionally will see somebody charge really low and just don't even go there. It's not worth it. I've had people try and outsource us saying, well, I've charged them 10% and they've got a $500 budget. Can we outsource? And it's like, sorry, but no, it's not a good idea. You can't do anything with $50 a month.
And like, you need to have a minimum. So I mean, I think a good place to be is at least $400 to $500 is your minimum management fee, regardless of how much they're spending. Because
Absolutely.
that still leaves enough margin to manage that business.
Yes. Okay. So right, just one thing I just want to clarify for everybody. People are sometimes nervous about charging for a setup fee. Do not be nervous about charging for a setup fee. In every case, the reason that this prospect was responsive to your emails and to your messaging and to your follow-ups in the first place was because they have a problem with their campaign. The reason they have a problem with their campaign already is that it's not set up correctly. If it was set up correctly, it would be performing and they wouldn't be talking to you. So the fact that they're even having the conversation is an acknowledgement that there is a problem. So understand that when you're having that conversation, you're dealing with somebody who has an issue that needs fixing. So they wouldn't expect, if you took your car into a mechanic, you wouldn't expect him to fix the problem for free and then start the rest of the work. You'd expect him to fix it first and to be charged for that. So the same comes with an AdWords account. Here are some ideas of conversations you can have to justify why there is a setup fee. So A, it isn't configured properly. Most business owners aren't going to understand what's involved in configuring an account properly, so when you start telling them it's not configured properly, you need to change the campaigns, you need to change the ad groups, the keywords. They will not appreciate how much work has to go into that, so there you're starting to get into it. You can say it needs to be at least partially rebuilt or potentially completely rebuilt. You can also say that in the early days of a campaign, you need hands-on monitoring every single day, without a doubt. Every single day you want to be in there checking it, even over a weekend. So one of the things that they're paying for in that setup is they're paying for all that extra time and effort that goes in over and above your normal monthly management. You've also got things like integration to do with conversion tracking and all that kind of stuff. That all needs sorting out and takes time. And quite often, if they aren't that educated as a business, if they've got a web manager who's difficult to deal with, that can be real time consuming. So there's a list of 4 bullet points you can use straight off. If you're in a conversation about why there's a setup fee, that's why there's a setup fee. Okay. Before I move on, I'm just going to jump into a couple of questions that have come into the chat box just so I don't get too far behind and lose them all. K. Smith asked, do you need a budget of at least $2,000 to outsource? No, you don't. You'll be able to outsource profitably at every level, providing you're charging sensibly, and we'll come on to that in a little while, but you will be able to make it profitable at every level. And Lewis has asked, with a setup fee, when starting low and expanding to a higher setup ad spend, sorry, I'll just read this properly before I mumble. Okay, what Lewis is asking, if you start with a low ad spend and then increase once performance is delivered, would you charge a higher setup fee? No, I wouldn't. I'd be sensible about it. If they've committed to $3,000 today, I would start with a setup fee based on a $3,000 budget, and I'd keep it simple. If they increase their budget in 2 months' time, you've done a great job. You win it anyway. Don't make it difficult for yourself to get to that point by trying to justify a future price increase today when you haven't actually delivered yet. So that would be my sort of feeling on that.
Real quick, Rob. I think
Yeah.
a number of people don't know what the actual outsourcing costs are. So in the chat box, I've put a link to the page in the membership site where there's a downloads here for US, UK, and Australia pricing.
Yes.
So you just thinking, yeah.
Kevin, you've preempted my humble pie for the evening. I'm going to have to, at this point, apologise because there was a version of the US pricing schedule in there before, and it was wrong. It has been updated today. So if you've already downloaded a schedule, download the new one that's there. You will find the pricing is actually lower because when we'd done the other one, we'd uploaded the wrong version of the schedule. My apologies for that. If anyone's panicked or wondering where margins are, I think you'll find that the schedule is there now. Will make you smile. So go and have a look at that's there. I've got an example that uses our pricing model coming up. So you'll see just how it works with our pricing in a few moments. Okay. Something quite contentious that I've seen come up in the Facebook group a couple of times. I've seen it asked in questions on webinars a couple of times, which is sales. There seems to be, with some people, a perception that you need to have a sales force to be doing this because you don't want to do the work yourselves. I would absolutely disagree with that view on day one. Unless you have an infrastructure already and a client base that supports it and can justify putting salespeople on, in which case, go for it, absolutely 100%. If you don't have that and you're starting out, you do not need to pay salespeople. There is nothing in here that you can't do yourself in relatively small amounts of time. I'm going to be uploading another interview tomorrow with a lady who started sending out emails on Friday, has already booked audits, and by her own admission doesn't like calling people up, but has called to get just a follow-up call and is getting audits and getting clients. So you don't need to pay an external person to be doing your sales for you. You can if you want, and if you've got a resource, go for it. And I know I'm labouring this, but please don't have the mindset that you have to have that in place. You really, really don't. Okay. That said, if you want to pay for sales, here is how I've seen it paid for. So I'm just going to back up a second. Anybody who hasn't listened to two interviews I've done already, the one with Kyle and the one with Rob, one of the common thread between both of those interviews is that neither of those guys have got a sales team. They are their own sales team. There's only the one person in both their businesses doing selling. They're both winning lots of clients, and their approach is entirely attributed to being lots of prospecting and professional follow-up. That's it. It's not that difficult. So I'll move on. My sermon is over. So if you do pay for sales, how do you pay for them? Here's how we've seen it work really well. In a couple of sales organizations where they do have lots of salespeople, here's what they do. They give the salesperson the majority of the setup fee. So anywhere between 50 and 100%, and I've seen both used. So the salesperson's incentive is A, to secure a setup fee, because it's going to go straight into their pocket, but then give them at maximum 10 months of their monthly management fee for a period of up to 6 months. You do not want salespeople who are getting a sales commission for an account they're not handling for 12 months into the future, because by the time they've done 12 months worth, it's too comfortable to sit on old sales and old prospects. So you really don't need to do that. I would strongly advise you to just limit it to 6 months maximum, and 3 months is perfectly fine. So here's how I do it. Look at it for a real life example. So okay, let's look at this over the first 4 months of a campaign. So down my chart here, the first row, I'm assuming that in sales for the first month you sell 4 new clients. That's 1 a week. That's perfectly achievable for a new salesperson, new to AdWords, could close 1 client a week if they're being diligent. By month 2, they're closing 2 a week, so that's 8 clients. Month 3, they're closing 3 a week. Entirely achievable. You'll have built a good flow out there by then. and away you go. And I'm assuming that we're targeting mid-tier people. These are our 2,500 ad spends. So they're not the top end, they're not the bottom end. These are good mid-tier clients. So we're charging them $500 a month on average, and we've got a $500 setup fee. So if we look at what this looks like for the course of a month, we have got new income into our business in month one of $2,000 in setup fees, $2,000 in management fees, and $4,000 in total. If we fast forward to month two, we've now got $4,000 in setup fees because we've got 8 this time, and we've got $6,000 in management fees, being the $4,000 new management fees from this month, and the $2,000 from last month. So you can see how this builds. By month 4, we've got $18,000 in fees, which is this month's 12, last month's 12, 8, and 4. And for the simplicity of this, I'm assuming that we don't have any attrition. We may have attrition, I'm just keeping the maths easy. So you can get to see the total income growth over the course of 4 months. You've gone from a $4,000 a month income to a $24,000 a month income. Vanessa, this is before paying everything. David, I'm gonna come on to the cost in a minute. I'm just working through step by step. So first step is, what income do we get in? Then we're going to look at what our salesman costs is if you have salesmen. Then we're going to have a look at what the outsourcing costs are. So you've got to see your profits at the end of this. So that's where I'm going with this, guys. Bear with me. I'll get to it. So if we then look at what our salesman's cost will be and what that leaves us in our pot. Lots more numbers here, but bear with it. The top half of this is the same, so we know we've got our same 4, our same 8 and 12. We've then got management fees 500, setup fees 500, and here's what I've put in. 75% of the setup goes to the salesman because that's in the middle, that's fair, that's not the best case, that's not the worst case. 10% of the management for 3 months goes to the salesman. And this is how the maths work out for the salesman's earnings, is getting setup fees here. You can see the setup fees are the big numbers. That's the big part of his income because that's what the salesman's motivated to do, is bring on new accounts. His much smaller element, his retained fees for existing accounts. And here, in month 4, we've actually dropped off this first month. So 4 of these first month sales have dropped off his income here. He's now relying on months 2 through 4. So we can see, if we do the math, this was our fees, 4,000. This was the salesman's cost, 1,700. This is what you're left with, 2,300, 6,400, 12,300, and 17,009. That's your margin from which you need to pay your outsourcer. Bear in mind, if you are outsourcing sales, your only requirement on you in this business is to make the odd phone call to make sure the client's happy. That's pretty much it, because someone's doing the work for you, someone's closed the sale for you, all you're doing is sitting in the middle, making a couple of phone calls a month to the client. So the margin that you're making is really low effort margin if you're employing a sales force. So that's how the sales... Okay, Vanessa, I'm going to back up. Vanessa just asked me a question on the last slide. Anybody else got any other questions on this previous slide before I go actually jump off it? So let me just... So Vanessa asked, are there no new sales from month 3 to month 4? Yes, there are 12 new sales in month 4. So we have, these are new sales each month. So 4 new sales in month 1, 8 new sales in month 2, so that's 2 new sales a week, 3 new sales a week in month 3, and 3 new sales in month 4. So we're assuming they get no better at selling in month 4. We still close our 3 a week, which is what we're seeing agencies do. So that's a reasonable place to be. So correct, 36 clients in total by the end of month 4. 36 clients, end of month 4 is really good progress. Some people will do better than that, some people will do worse than that. And as I said, Rick, for easy maths, I'm not putting attrition into this. It just keeps it simpler. I would hope that if you've got a good, if you're following our process and you're setting expectations effectively, over the course of 3 to 4 months, you would lose no more than 1 or 2 clients maximum. I'd be really upset if we found we were losing more than that number of clients, because at that level we should be good. You will always have somebody who will be upset about something. Okay, Lewis has asked, what's his question? Salesman's earnings 10% of 4. Lewis, I'm struggling to... okay, Lewis has answered his own question. I was stumbling over it trying to figure it out. He's answered it himself already. So, okay, here we go. We're going to move on to the next one then. No problem, Lewis, it's fine. So, when it comes to outsourcing, I've said all along, there's absolutely no obligation to use our service. We like our service. Other people like our service. You're under no obligation whatsoever. What you're going to find is if you use a firm like ourselves or like Endless Rise or any of the other outsourcing PPC firms, you're going to find prices are fairly similar. They will vary from place to place, but from my experience, they don't vary that much. You can go to an independent contractor. There's training on how to handle an independent contractor in the program. It does bring it with it a significant increase in the amount of responsibilities you have as an agency and the amount of effort you'll have to put in. You certainly won't be doing just a couple of phone calls a month to your client and a check-in with your outsourcer. You'll be doing a lot more than that. But you should be aiming initially for about a 50% margin. So here's how it works. Using our fee ratio, our fee target, that same $2,500 a month client, an average outsource fee, an hour fee in this case, happens to be $250 using our basic service. In which case, your margin here is before your sales, after you've paid sales costs, but before you've paid your outsourcer is $2,300. Paying your outsourcer will cost you $1,000. You're left with $1,300 profit in month one, and you've paid a salesman. And bear in mind, a salesman has taken $1,700 of your month one income. It's a big chunk of it, far more than any outsourcer is taking. Month two, same again. You're now up to $3,000 of outsource costs because you've now got 12 clients in total, but you've still got $3,400 income coming in. And bear in mind, if I flip back a couple of slides, to get that, if you've used a salesperson, you have paid $3,600 out in sales costs. Which is why I say, if you have an existing service and you've already got clients that can support a sales force, by all means use a salesperson. But if you haven't, your income will double in the early days, literally double, and you won't have an issue in terms of costs or growth or scalability. When you've got 20 clients in, go and hire a salesperson. But up until that point, it's not necessary.
And also, it's an extreme value of going through the process yourself to know and understand how it works, to be able to properly train and manage a salesperson when you're ready for them. If you don't really understand the process, then you're going to have a lot of challenge. One, finding a salesperson to get on board, and then two, training and managing them successfully.
Yes. Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that, Kevin. I mean, I'm not a great lover of hiring salesmen that start a business. I strongly believe you need to learn all the objections, you need to learn the issues, you need to know how it feels, and you pick up on so much by doing that. So if you hire just one salesperson, you never know you've got the right salesperson. You've only got their word to take for the results. Even if you don't consider yourself a salesperson like some of the guys I've been speaking to, it doesn't matter. The nature of the calls that we're making with our approach, they're only ever helpful calls, and you'll still get rejections, but you'll get a lot less than you will do cold calling by far.
Yeah, in my own agency, we still haven't hired salespeople yet and we're bringing on 3 to 5 clients a week because it's really not necessary. What we need is more on the kind of client management side and operational side to manage the growth of all these new people, but my business partner still does the sales.
Yeah, exactly. And I say, when we listen back to what Rob had to say, listen to what Kyle had to say, that's exactly what they're saying. It's me doing the sales. And again, as you'll know, we're not doing anything clever here. We're just following up carefully. We're prospecting people who we believe have got a problem, and that's it. It's really not that difficult. So when we come to the business of selling PPC, the actual PPC part of this service alone, you should have some really good margins in there. I say all these margins here are after paying a significant amount of money to your sales guy. You can do really well with it. And there's a couple more things that will make this even better for you. Here we go. This is what it looks like without a sales staff. The numbers are a lot nicer. And correct, Lewis, yep, 36 clients in 4 months is a 19,000 minimum, correct. So this is what it looks like if you don't have a sales staff. You know, you're up to 15,000 a month by month 4. It's really not that hard to do this. I would urge anybody to give it a try themselves and not worry too much about hiring a team unless, as I say, the only caveat, if you've got an established business where you've already got that in place and you can already absorb it. It makes it, Larry, I agree, it makes it much nicer. It's the way to go, and you'll learn so much more when you do come to hire. Going to jump on a second from that, because there is more to this than just this margin. From our perspective, we give discounts when you've got more clients. So if you get more clients, the prices go down, so your margins have gone up again. None of that's in what you've just seen. The margins get bigger if you're using us. Other agencies, I don't know what they do, but that's up to them entirely. If you're using our service, you've made even more. But then don't forget, you've got upsells. You should, as a matter of routine, when you make a sale for PPC, be looking at landing pages, offering to charge landing pages out. Now, depending on the complexity of the page, if we do a landing page for you, we'll typically charge between $200 and $300, depending on what's required. You'll typically charge them out at $500. You can charge variants on landing pages for different service offerings. We sell and offer call tracking. We charge $10 a month for it. You can charge what you like. We suggest at least 20. You can do banner ads. You can expand to Bing. You know, if they're running on mobile, you can sell a mobile site. You can use the keyword data that we know is converting for AdWords to drive SEO traffic. You know, there's 7 opportunities there from one client to go on and sell a whole bunch of other services, based on the fact they've already know, like, and trust you to get to this point. So don't think that this is the end of the line as far as your margin from that client goes. There's lots more you can do with it. And I'm sure if you spend a few minutes thinking about it, you'll come up with more ideas than I have. Just been asked the question, what is call tracking? Call tracking is really cool. Call tracking, what it does is when somebody rings your client, then you share, sorry, I'll start that again because I'm rambling nonsense. Call tracking is we provide, or you provide to your client, a phone number that when it is rung redirects to their landline or whatever the phone they use to answer their calls, and it's tracked back to AdWords. So AdWords, where any calls that come in from AdWords, use that tracking phone number. You can then record the calls, report the statistics back to your client as part of the value that you provided is the calls that they've seen that you can identify call by call and recordings. And depending on how good they are at handling their calls, you may well wish to sell them a sales training course on how to answer the telephone. We have some terrible call handling going on with some of our clients. So you've got that option there. We provide it. It's white labeled. Nobody knows it's us behind it. So we can provide that to you. Because we've got a big account with our call tracking provider, then you don't pay all the big fees that go with that. You just pick it back off our account and we charge it out at $10 a month. It's really easy.
Yeah, I would. We do our own call tracking because we got everything set up before you guys. But I would definitely go with the $10 add-on fee that you guys do, because it just makes it so much easier if you guys are handling all that.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're not really going to save a whole lot if you try and do it yourself.
No, it will cost you more. The entry-level packages for most things are a lot more than $10 just to get one number. And William, yes, you can identify the keyword. It's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty good. So, yes, you can. What I'd say with that as well is one of the things that we're upgrading, this is just an aside, our internal reporting system has been upgraded over the next month. We've just signed up for a very much more expensive package which has call tracking integrated into a client dashboard so they can even listen to the calls, directing their stats. So that's something we've got coming on that will just be part of the service that we provide. So that's it as far as that part of what we've got to talk about tonight goes about the business. Can I ask, does that business now, is that more clear than it was before we went through this? Has that helped? Excellent. Got plenty of yeses coming in. Good, because I think it's really important that we're all really clear on this, because it's really easy to think, oh, I've only got one client, I've got two clients. But if you follow that, if you prospect consistently, and prospecting consistently is absolutely the key here, you will very soon have a reasonably sized business that actually all it requires you to do is a bit of prospecting and a couple of client management calls a month, and you're away and you're running, and that will work really well. Yes, I'll put these slides as a download, and I will also put the recording in the webinar in the website tomorrow. Karen, I've got a big announcement about your package. Karen's asking a question about the agency website. We've got a big thing coming up on that in a day or two's time. You'll be pleased with the outcome, so bear with me, just 48 hours or so on that one. We're really working hard to deliver something over and above what we originally offered there, and yeah, bear with me just a little bit. Okay, can you bring this back to the screen without having a sales team but having already paid us, of course? There you go. Okay. Hopefully that helps, Vanessa. Hopefully you like the numbers that are on there. Lewis has asked a question to ask me to explain on our pricing what the difference is between basic, advanced, and premium is. Okay, I'll run through that. Anybody who hasn't spoken to Aaron in our office yet who wants to outsource to us, speak to Aaron. Aaron at invisibleppc.com. She will help you out with that. But essentially, we have 3 levels of service. It does not change in any way, shape, or form the work we do for your clients. Whichever package you choose, we treat every client account exactly the same. The only change that happens is the amount of help and support that we give to you as an agency. So if you take a basic package, then we will jump on the phone with you during the course of the month. We'll do it perhaps a couple of times, and we'll be helpful with the odd email that comes in. But what we won't be doing is spending hours doing lots of hand-holding for you, helping you answer emails and those kind of things. If you, on the other hand, choose a premium package, which is the other extreme, we have clients who we write their emails for them practically. We jump on the call every week, and we sometimes get 3, 4, 5 emails a week from them. We spend a lot of time with those agencies, helping the agencies grow and build their own skills. So essentially, if you're brand new to AdWords, have never sold it before, and feel like you want someone to hold your hand, then we will hold your hand and help you answer every client question and really go to town and making sure you can communicate effectively with that client. But that's a short-term thing. I mean, that's over and above account management. That's got nothing to do with day-to-day management account. That's got everything to do with educating an agency with the real-life handling clients. So if you're brand new, then you might want to take premium for 2 to 3 months for your first few clients. It will cost you more money. It will erode your margin, but that's, I guess, additional further education. Once you've got a couple of months under your belt, drop it down to basic. You don't need that ongoing support, because by then you'll know the questions that are coming in. You'll know the answers that are likely to be required, and you won't need our support on it. So absolutely, that's the difference between them. Pick what's right for you. We'll never tell you what you need. It's up to you entirely who to choose. Okay, couple of other quick questions that have come in. Yes, William has asked a question, will we help out? We will help out in terms of sales presentations. We will always, if you're using Invisible PPC as your outsourcer, we can always write your proposals for you and do your market research for you. We do that as a matter of routine. If you need help on the sales presentations, you want someone to jump on the call, we can jump on the call with you. We will be typically introduced as your PPC manager, and we will be on the call, and we will help you close that sale from a technical perspective. Vanessa's just asked a question about the slide that's on screen now in terms of there being no setup fee. There's no setup fee there because the total fees that you earn as an agency are at the top. The outsource fee, there is no outsource setup fee. The outsourcer, in our case, us, we don't charge a setup fee, which is why you can keep all your setup fee as margin. If you're using a different outsourcer, they may charge it. Peter's asked about monthly recurring charges, how you justify it. We've never had to justify based on our task list what they're paying for. What we always would say, they're paying for performance. AdWords goes very, very stale very, very quickly. You need to be doing weekly maintenance. I can upload a schedule if necessary, so I can upload a schedule of things we do, but to be honest, I can't remember the last time anybody said to us, what do you do for your money? Everybody's more interested in, can you get the results? And providing you're getting the results and you're telling them the work, you know, there's ongoing work, there's ongoing management, there's weekly checks, there's 2 weekly checks, there's monthly things. Providing you're telling them that's going on, we've never had a problem justifying a management fee. Competition will change during the course of a month. You may have to respond to what a competitor does. Ads will get disapproved from time to time. There's lots of things that need doing to justify a monthly management fee. Ed's asked if we've got a niche list to avoid. Ed, it's already in the training. If you look in the intro section and the niches to go for and niches to avoid, it's already there.
Real quick on that, Rob,
yep.
I think the PDF of the slides still needs to be uploaded for niches to target and niches to avoid.
Aha! And I've been chased up on that. I apologise. I promised I would do that for somebody today, actually, and I apologise. I will get that done when I wake up first thing in the morning. Vanessa, with the first 3 case studies, we're just waiting for client sign-off, and they're going to be up there this week. We have case studies in 3 different industries that are quite popular. You'll see those going into the site over the next couple of days. Okay. A couple of other questions that are just shooting in because the chat box is going mad. I'll come back to the Boost My PPC question in a minute if I can. Karen's asked if there's a ballpark number of how many clients they can expect for the money. The answer is no. Put it into context. If you have an industry, say the legal industry, where each click costs $30, and you compare that to an industry where each click costs $5, your traffic levels and your inquiry levels will be very, very different. Different landing pages comes out differently, so you just need to be aware of that. There really isn't a ballpark. You might be able to get one by industry. So if you've got a prospect in a particular niche, then we can look at that individual niche. Yeah, and Lewis asked about combining PPC management with call tracking as a combination. Absolutely. You want to track call tracking, you want conversion tracking on the website. Always put them in together. Coming back to a couple of other questions. Peter's asked about the issue with the video in the training session. We're hoping to have that sorted out tomorrow. We've had an issue where a couple of browsers have caused us problems with our videos. Where all things being well, I've got a call with the developers first thing tomorrow morning just to see how we're fixing that. We've had to prioritize quite some other things first, but we're back onto that. Hope to have your video issue sorted out tomorrow. I will keep everybody up to date on that because I'm aware it's an annoyance and we'll deal with it properly. Rick says Carl's interview was helpful. Yes, it was. It was a really good interview, isn't it? And Larry, yes, you get the websites as part of the deal. That's on its way to you. I say a big announcement on that, hopefully Wednesday. Yeah. I'm not just on the website side of things. We are making quite a lot of changes that you're going to see coming through on Tuesday, Wednesday, where we're getting lots of feedback on the Boost My PPC tool. We're definitely getting some good feedback, some constructive feedback, and we're putting out lots of new features. Peter, yeah, I'm aware it applies to the other video as well. We're dealing with both videos, so we'll get that taken care of. The same solution will fix both problems. Okay, any last questions? I'm aware we're a little bit shorter tonight, but I just wanted to make sure this one all gets through. I've been asked a question about how to get paid, what works best. The best way I have found by far is, which is really, really simple, is get yourself FreshBooks and integrate it with Stripe, which is just a couple of clicks. If you do that, FreshBooks is free for your first client, so it won't even cost you anything, and it integrates with Stripe really nicely, and it takes recurring payments. So it's a really good one. And the simplest way to do it. David, yeah, I'm uploading that at the same time. David's asked me a question about an email script, which I've missed. So while I'm tidying up things I've missed in the members area, I will upload that one at the same time. Karen's asking for a recommended CRM tool. I'll tell you what we use, which is linked Insightly. We use Insightly. I know some people use Pipedrive. Both of those are great products. Kevin, have you got any particular favorites on that one at all?
We build all of our stuff on the SnPepper / Office Autopilot platform.
Yeah.
So that way we can push all of our campaigns to our members.
Okay, cool. So that SnPepper's the low-cost version of Office Autopilot with fewer functions, but really, really good. I like Insightly because it has built-in project management, which is really, really cool. It isn't, though, an autoresponder, so if you want to do autoresponder type stuff and mail outs, you'll probably need to integrate it with something else. SendDrive is the one Kyle uses, and I can't 100%. I've never tried it, so I don't know whether it has got an autoresponder built into it.
I believe that's more of a sales management tool, to like Pipedrive, to manage your sales pipeline as far as prospects, not necessarily like a SnPepper, Office Autopilot, Infusionsoft, where it also incorporates the online marketing components.
No, one we are investigating at the moment, but I have no view on yet, because we currently have an Infusionsoft account, but I don't particularly like it. Just let me see if I can find it here, because I was looking at it earlier. Give me a second.
So in the chat box, I put the Stripe and FreshBooks. Also, that's what we use in our agency. Is we do use FreshBooks for all of our billing, and then it's tied into Stripe. So that's the same thing as a merchant account to build credit cards. And you can go sign up and have basically almost instant approval with Stripe to be able to accept credit cards at a flat fee.
Yeah,
so
it's really good. It's really simple. Really, really good system.
And then they're set up where they work together seamlessly. One thing that might throw you off with Stripe is at the beginning they send you your first batch or couple batches after a 7-day hold, and then once that goes through successfully, then it switches to its normal 2-day payout cycle. So every 2 days, I think it's 2 days after you collect the payment, it is deposited in your bank account.
Yeah, so it's really quick. It's pretty good. And if anybody wants a fully integrated sales, CRM, and autoresponder that's way, way cheaper than Office Autopilot and Infusionsoft, I've just come across this one and been recommended it. So Active Campaign. I don't know if you've seen that one, Kevin, at all, but it's one I've seen and I'm seriously looking at because it looks very, very interesting. And it starts incredibly cheap. Yeah, $9 per month is the entry point for up to 500 contacts. I suggest that would keep most people here happy.
So Larry asked about PayPal, and we used to use PayPal, and the challenge with that is you can't set up automated billing, so you have to invoice clients. So with Stripe, you can, once you have their credit cards, you can automatically bill that for whatever you need. So that's the big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we no longer use PayPal. And PowerPay, Kay asked, is a merchant account. So Stripe is similar to a merchant account, but doesn't have all of the hassles that you'd have to go through as far as getting approval, and then a merchant account is going to have some archaic hidden billing structure. So they say your fee is X, but then that's before a couple dozen other fees that are tacked on top of that based on what the card is. So Stripe took this very archaic business of merchant accounts and made it very simple, which is you're going to charge you a flat fee or percentage of all your transactions. Where a typical merchant account, it is all over the board based on the type of card that the person's using. So it just simplifies. And then, yeah, you don't have to go through this insane approval process to get a merchant account.
Yeah, in all seriousness, I've spent hours and hours and hours trying to find a good solution to this, and whichever way I look at it, I still end up back at Stripe. If you have Stripe, don't try and put it onto your own website. Integrate it with something like FreshBooks, because it will be done in a couple of clicks. And it's by far the simplest way to go with it. The only time I've ever come with a problem with Stripe is if you go cross-border, as we do sometimes, because we bill internationally. And that's the only time I've ever had an issue with it.
So Larry asked, PayPal and recurring payments. You can do recurring if it's the same thing month after month. But let's say somebody wants to increase their budget, and now they're going to bump up to the next level, or they want to add on another service. So they want to do anything. Well, now that recurring payment that you had set up in PayPal is no longer valid, and you're going to have to reissue or restart their whole payment cycle from square one. Where with FreshBooks, you just go in, that's tied into Stripe, you just go in and change their invoice that it's automatically charging them, and you don't have to do anything with the client. It's going to change automatically. And yeah, so FreshBooks also integrates with any kind of authorized net or pretty much any payment gateway if you have your own merchant account. And as you grow, you might come to the point where you want to have your own merchant account. There are some benefits, but right now, I'd say like 99% of the people on here, Stripe is your best option. In Square, I have never used Square, but I believe you have to, that's more for offline merchants that are taking a physical card.
Yeah, that's what, that's my understanding. You physically have a reader, so you're doing it offline. So but I've never tried it either.
Yeah, so Square is for offline transactions where you're swiping a card with their reader. Stripe is for online transactions where you don't have the card's not present.
Yeah, and Larry's asked about Active Campaign because it combines CRM and autoresponder. Most of the other, for example, Insightly, which is the one we use, doesn't combine. It's a great CRM, it's a great project management integration, but it doesn't have autoresponder built into it. Nor does, we don't think Pipedrive does either. So you tend to find that the CRMs don't have the autoresponder and email marketing built into it. Active Campaign is a relatively new, I believe, competitor to Infusion and Office Autopilot, but at a crazy cheap price. So it's well worth a look. We're automatically now looking at putting all our efforts, exporting all our contacts into Active Campaign as an automated process from Insightly. So it looks like a great little piece of software.
I'm not sure if you had anything else, Rob, but I was, like a recommendation I'd give for everybody to kind of move forward from this call is download the pricing sheet for Invisible PPC so you know what your outsourcing costs are based on the ad budget level. And then I would create your own pricing sheet on what you're going to charge clients. So that way you have clarity on that. So now you know, all right, on these levels, here's my cost, what kind of markup do I want to have, and then this is my fee based on that level. And if you don't have that right now of what you're charging based on the tiers, then that's something you're absolutely going to need as you move forward. So I would take and do that work right now while it's still fresh in your mind. And then you're going to have clarity on what the financial side of your business looks like.
Yeah, and it's not going to take many minutes. It's not difficult. You can go more granular than we have if you wish. It's really not a problem at all to do that in a few minutes. It will integrate really nicely into the proposal documents that we've already provided in the training because they're designed to take pricing in that kind of structure. So you've already got the tools that you need in there to integrate that pricing table, so it makes perfect sense. Okay, I think we're there. Just looking at the last couple of questions that are coming in now.
So Joseph, I guess I'll mention this to everybody. So if anybody is coming to Local Summit in beginning of October, so it's a 3-day industry conference for anybody in the local marketing industry. It's something that I kind of put together with the other top people. We're going to have over 30 agency owners, so people that are actually out there doing this business. And all of them are making over half of them are making over $1 million or more a year in this business. And there's 30 plus of them, and they're going to share their best stuff up on stage. So you're just going to get blown away with actionable stuff you can put to use in your business. Rob's actually has a session there as well. So the day after, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. On Sunday, Rob has been very gracious to do a bonus day session with myself and Ed, and it's all about how to scale your agency. How do you improve your operations, your marketing and sales process, how to create more automation, and really high level, high tech stuff that we're going to spend a whole day on. So anybody that's a customer of ours, if you go to Local Summit, you can come. You can register through our link. I would love it. I'd get a little bit of a affiliate commission, or you can register through anybody else's affiliate link, and you can still come as a customer of ours. And so to answer Joseph's and Vanessa's question about that, just contact our support and say you are coming to Local Summit and want to be on our bonus day list, and we will put you on the list. When is it, and what is the link?
It's 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of October, isn't it? And then is that right? Or is it 2nd, 3rd, and 4th? And then the bonus day is on the day after, on the 5th of October in sunny Phoenix.
Let me get a little link here.
Just a couple of quick questions while you guys are looking for that, Kevin. Jamil's asked exactly what we do with Facebook PPC. It's not really for this call, to be honest, Jamil, but we do basically, all the targeting, all the graphic creation, all of that kind of stuff for Facebook PPC. We don't actively shout about it at this point, but if you've got a client you want to talk to us about Facebook PPC, give us a shout, and I'll go through that with you, Jamil. Hopefully this session's also sort of given you some comfort over some of the business questions you had earlier in the week. I'm conscious you and I haven't managed to speak yet. Jamil's also asked about the additional fee being 10% of what fee. If you run an AdWords campaign and you expand it out to Bing, then we charge an extra 10% of our fee to cover the extra work we have to put into Manage Bing. So it's 10% of our fee, but you can charge what you like for your client for doing extra work. And in a similar vein, Chris, we do cover search and content in all our campaigns as is necessary. We don't distinguish between the two. As I said earlier on, we do the right thing for the client, and there's never any difference between anything else. It's always do the right thing. And Lewis, yes, you can translate the websites. I'm pretty sure. I will double check, but I'm pretty sure. Sorry, Kevin, you want to dive back in?
Yeah, to kind of wrap up the Local Summit, I don't want to derail everything, but just to give clarity in the chat box, if you're interested in it, you can learn all about it. The dates, it's in Phoenix. You can register, and if you're not registered. And then once you are registered through us or through anybody else, just contact our support. So it's nitrosupport.com. Please don't go through Rob's support for the PPC program. So it doesn't all the others up, but contact Nitro Support, say that you're going to Local Summit and want to be on our registered for a bonus day, and we'll put you on the list. So nitrosupport.com. And one other thing I was going to say is there's still a couple other, well, when everybody signed up, we let you know that you're getting an amazing deal to give us a little leeway that not everything is going to be ready from day one. So I think there's a couple outstanding things. The website, which Rob's going to have some amazing information for everybody later this week about the website. So that's in process. Case studies. I think you mentioned that earlier, Rob, that you are getting final approval.
Yeah, just getting signed up on the first 3 to go in there in the next couple of days.
And what was the other? Oh, landing pages. That's something you've been working on. All of these are things that Rob never planned on him providing that I insisted that he provide for you guys. So I gave him a whole bunch of work that he had to do once he thought he was done.
Yeah, exactly. The landing pages, to be fair, we've actually started the landing page. We hit a roadblock, and we've had to revisit the way we're doing them. We were expecting to be able to use our existing landing pages and export them from our current system, and it appears that we can't. So it looks like we're having to rebuild everything. So that's why they're taking a little bit longer. And it's being delayed because our designer, as we're very busy, is very busy. So she's currently working on something you're going to see in the middle of the week, and you're going to really, really like, I hope.
Yeah, so Rob's been doing a great job of kind of prioritizing updates to the content, updates to Boost My PPC, and these other deliverables that we knew were in process to kind of deliver it, the most important stuff, as soon as possible. The link does not work.
Oh yeah, it's got Nitro M. Is that the full link?
I just, whoa, whoops. It worked for me. I don't know.
It's worked for me as well.
Yeah, Peter. Maybe try again.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, same thing. There's a video that comes up.
The link works, guys.
So Joseph asked Nitro support. You can just do product and like a general. Or you can email support@nitrosupport.com and it'll automatically open a ticket for you.
Fantastic.
I'll reply to you directly, Peter. There we go. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, so a couple of people asked about the bonus webinar I was going to do. So my model is a little bit of a hybrid in what we do. I would definitely consider it an advanced model. So doing a webinar on that right now, I think would just derail the vast majority of people that are still just getting started. So I would say focus on what Rob has done through the training, because that's the easiest way to do this business and to grow it and get clients. And then once you have a really solid foundation, then you can go into more of a niche hybrid model that we use, and I will show you what that is. But it would be of no use and actually be a disservice to most of you people, you guys, if I did it right now, because it's going to take you off in a different direction before you're ready to go in a different direction. So I would not worry about it right now.
Fantastic. Right, guys, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for your time tonight. I hope you've got something out of it. Certainly from the feedback in the chat box, I can see that hopefully everyone's got a much clearer handle on this and has got a really good idea how to go out there and make some money with this model. It really is as simple as we've described it tonight. There isn't any reason not to do that. Go out, don't worry about a salesman unless you've already got them, and go out and make some decent money, and we'll all succeed together. I thank you all for your time and have a great rest of the day. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.